This is Gaming with Austin. And today, we're on episode 58 of Season 2 of the Utopian Community series. We're going to continue on with building every last floor in the vertical farm. If we all share our ideas together, we can improve very quickly. But you know, some business people like to hide their patents to ensure no one reverse engineers their products. It's not very nice to keep people from reverse engineering someone else's products. All patents should be... we need to make them open source. The real reason we have discipline is to teach children how to become law-abiding citizens. But you can't force your cat to abide by human laws. Because even if the punishment for the crime will give you the death penalty, the cats will still commit the crime regardless. Because for cats, it's a matter of life or death. And I believe instead of those with the greater ability, it shouldn't be about your ability that'll determine your paycheck. It should be based on your needs. Those with the greater ability should teach those with the lesser ability to have a better ability. They should teach them. Just like the mother cat teaches their kittens how to become hunters. Really good hunters. Even though they have the instinct to hunt. We should teach people how to get a better ability to learn to do stuff. So we could keep up with everybody's needs. It sucks that people are only paid based on their abilities. If we pay people based on their needs, things would be better for all of us. Like, if we pay people based on their needs. Minecraft is not just a video game. It's also an art form. Truth about why we need to pay people based on their needs. Housing should be a right, not a privilege. But the problem is, we are running out of resources to build houses. Some of those resources cannot replenish themselves. Quickly enough for us, like, a renewable resource is any resource that replenishes itself naturally far more quickly than us depleting them. Like, a renewable resource is something that can replenish itself, or that can replenish itself pretty quickly compared to us depleting them. A non-renewable resource is something that takes longer to replenish, like where we deplete them faster than it replenishes itself. An example of non-renewable resources: petroleum. Metal cannot replenish itself at all without nuclear fusion. On a human scale, solar power is a renewable resource, but on a cosmological scale, renewable resources are non-existent on a cosmological scale. Because of something called entropy. This is because of something called entropy. Because entropy is ever increasing. Entropy is always increasing with time. But on the human scale, solar energy is renewable. But on a cosmological scale, there's no such thing as a renewable resource on a cosmological scale. Because nuclear fusion has a really high energy expenditure. It's got a really high energy expenditure. Anything that has an energy expenditure is not free. Because ultimately it gives off heat. The perfect Carnot heat engine will never exist, mainly because it's going to violate the laws of thermodynamics. But we're trying everything we can to make it as close as possible to 100% efficient. By increasing the number of pistons and making those pistons smaller. If you put 1,000,000 micropistons inside, your engine is going to run very efficiently. And if I was to go live out on my own, the reason I'm going to deny myself health insurance, this is mainly because chances are they're not effective at covering medical costs. Because it's a profit-driven industry. They're only there for the money. One of my goals is to take out the bourgeoisie and we'd help people enact a new constitution to not only limit the power of the government, but also limit the power of the bourgeoisie. To ensure America doesn't go back to to ensure that America doesn't go to plutocracy again. But you know, one thing that might happen if we try to limit the power of the bourgeoisie, neo-Nazis, a lot of them are going to get pretty pissed off, because a lot of neo-Nazis, some of the bourgeoisie some of them work with the neo-Nazis to ensure they stay wealthy. Sometimes the motive for you making so much money as a CEO, some of it's racially motivated, because they believe that their own ethnic group is superior to another. Truth is, it doesn't matter your tribal affiliation, we are all human. No matter what. If we stop eating meat, we can make our economy better by simply going vegan. Because, you know, meat's very expensive. Plants don't require as much land to grow per pound of edible plant material. You know, my critique on gun control is related to animal welfare. You know, we do need pest control at the same time, too. Because even if we achieve true communism, we still have to compete with animals for food. Especially, animals are much smaller than us that are wild animals that share a common food source with us. Sewer rats are one of those animals we have to deal with. Solution to that: bring in some cats. You know, it's not that just that cats don't want to take out the strongest. It's really hard for them to take out the strongest prey. It's really hard for them to do it because they would... chances are they would outrun the predator. Chances are they're going to outrun the predator. The reason why it's perfectly legal for parents to ground their children for bad behavior, this is mainly because, like, it's perfectly legal for them to take their child's phone away. It all has to do with property rights that children have very little of. They have very little ownership rights. This is mainly because they are under 18 in most countries. It ain't just parents that do it. Sometimes schools encourage parents to do that tactic for their children's bad behavior in school. Like, children have very little ownership rights. It belongs to their parents until they reach the age of majority. The reason why dictators can do whatever they want without punishment is they rule a country with an iron fist. Basically, they are legally entitled to anything. But they can't go above international law. But some of them are trying to go above the law on an international level. Problem is, if children were legally entitled to anything, like we were entitled to anything, chances are we might be violating international law without even realizing it. The federal governments nor state governments can enforce those laws, and it would be up to Interpol. It would be up to the Interpol. Which is international police. You may think it's hard to make ends meet in America. People living in Africa, they have it even worse. Because of constant fighting over territorial control. And constant genocide. Like what happened in the Rwandan genocide. Just like what happened in the Rwandan genocide. Once Rwanda goes into communist control, there'd be laws put into place to ensure that it doesn't happen again. Just like how Germany has laws put into place to ensure that Germany doesn't descend into the Fourth Reich. It's done to ensure that Germany doesn't descend into the Fourth Reich. What we need to do is impose a constitutional amendment that will limit the power of the wealthy few to prevent America from becoming a plutocracy. But the problem is, if it does happen, Big Pharma is going to get really pissed by that. They're going to get extremely pissed. For me, if I was to go for an insurance company, I'd rather go for a state-run insurance company. Instead of a private insurance company. To prove that socialism can work, go to Portugal. People over there are having a good time. They have more civil liberties in a socialist society. The reason why children eat so much sugar is that when they're going through a rapid growth spurt, they have a greater energy expenditure, which means they need to consume a lot more food. Discipline does nothing to stop them. It's all physiological. It's all physiological. Children eating so much sugar, a lot of that's physiological. I know some people out there would call it pseudoscience, like the POTUS fuckface von Clownstick. But this is true. It's all physiological. And his successor in the Trump Syndicate, I know his successor of the Trump Syndicate, Trump Crime Syndicate, Fuckface Jr., would think it's all pseudoscience. They believe it's a lack of discipline and too much marketing candy to children. The truth is, it's all physiological. When children are going through a growth spurt, they have a greater need to eat more sugar. They have a greater need for energy. They have a greater need to eat when they're going through a growth spurt. If you deny them a lot of food during the growth spurt, they're going to suffer physically. Because growth has a huge growing taller throughout your life has a high energy expenditure. Which is often why elementary schools shouldn't last like 6 hours 45 minutes. It should last a little less, so children could have enough time to sleep. It's all physiological that children eat so much sugar. It's not that they want to, it's that they need to do it to ensure that they grow properly. Because if their growth gets stunted, that means they are struggling with they have a health problem. Whether it be malnutrition, which is the leading cause of stunted growth in the developing world, you gotta watch your kids' caloric intake to ensure they're growing properly. Because if their growth if you intentionally attenuate their growth with certain drugs, that has a negative effect on their lifespan. You gotta let your child grow to its natural adult height if you want them to live the longest possible life expectancy. The reason why I eat a lot, it's not that I'm going through a growth spurt or anything, it's that I'm trying to gain muscle. Muscle weighs more than fat. The urge to eat is something we have no control over. If your brain goes first when you starve yourself, you're gonna die. Why can't we use our brain's full potential solely for studying? This is because your brain needs to do other stuff too, like make sure your heart is beating at a regular interval. anyway, this is it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you like this video. Dislike if you disliked it. Subscribe for more. Share this with your comrades on social media. As always, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Support me on Patreon, as always. And as always, peace out.